Hello everyone and welcome back to the poetpri channel. My name is Priyanka, aka PM, and today I am here to talk to you guys about this mini poetry book, also known as a chapbook, because on this channel you get education and entertainment, which is called Aftereffects by Jiye Lee. Now, before we get into answering the main question of this video, I wanted to tell you guys a little bit more about the book. So, what is the book about? Aftereffects is, on paper, a chapbook about grief. A lot of Jiye's poems explore her experiences with loss and the tragic death of her father in Cairo. But, as with a lot of poetry books, it is really difficult to distill what an entire collection of poems can offer in one line. And that's because every poem has a life of its own and explores different themes in its own way. Despite it being short, there is so much love and intention and attention packed into this book. There's lots of detail to appreciate, specifically in the way poems are ordered. We're taken right through from Jiye's open wounded grief to the much more calm sense of grief, almost that sense of acceptance, which is why the final line of the book is "The little girl continues to dream." And despite there being a lot of oscillation between these waves of hope and hopelessness, you do get really nice moments of respite, like a poem about a trip with an ex-boyfriend to the Taj Mahal, and being the desi queen that I am, it made me laugh out loud on a train. That was awkward. Or these really cool two-line poems that once you read it, you're like, wait, I need to read it again to fully understand it. And then when you do understand it, you have that moment of that's some big boy brain energy right there. My reading experience. Now, admittedly, I did have to take a break while I was reading these poems, just because they are so powerful and emotive. But this is purely my own personal reading experience, because I am a huge empath. So I pick up emotions quite strongly from other people, which isn't fun. And my brain will basically soak up these emotions like a sponge, and then I'm carrying this sponge of emotion around all day with me, and that's just not healthy for me in any way, shape or form. And I would like to add, it does contain some triggering subject matter like suicide, suicidal thoughts and self-harm, so that's just something to keep in mind before you dive in. But that being said, I don't think it should deter you from reading the book, because when I was, in a not as emotional state of mind, the poems really hit me in my soul. A lot of the poems are narrative style and free verse, and I've sort of touched on in a previous video about how that's my preferred style of poetry. But essentially it just means that they tell a story. And it was really cool how a lot of the poems on the page were organised in very interesting forms. I think the beauty of poetry is that sense of defamiliarization, which is where we take a concept that's familiar and then it's flipped on its head and we look at it slightly differently. So for example, when a cloud is called a pillow, that's defamiliarization. And I had lots of these moments with Jiye's collection, and here are just a few of the wonderful lines of description that touched me in my soul and that I wanted to share so that they touch you too. So, now for the main question of the video. Does knowing the author make your review less authentic? So in my reviews, obviously, I like to be completely transparent with things, because, general human decency. And so part of that is me telling you guys that I know Jiye. We met through Instagram because she followed me, I liked her poems, and she offered to send me a copy of her wonderful chapbook through her publishers, which are Flight on the Wall Press, which are also wonderful publishers, wonderful people, so if you want to support them, link in the description to find out more. And so I think it would be fair to have the assumption that if I know Jiye, my review has to be 100% good, right? I can't make any criticisms. But I don't think that's the case. Recently I went to an online conference about publishing, because that's what I want to do. And I wanted to learn more about it. And a guy who was working in sales in like a senior position said that a lot of sales are actually based around an author's personality, because it's about what audience that author's personality attracts. So I think knowing more about an author can actually enhance your reading experience. And this is particularly important with poetry, because a lot of the time poems come from a poet's personal experiences of things. That was a lot of P's. With Jiye's chapbook especially, where a lot of her poems are derivative of her own sense of grief, I actually enjoyed being able to have that personal connection to her, because I could message her about poems that I was really intrigued by, and I could also compliment her and say how much I loved her work. And if you think about it, that's a pretty unique experience, because often with best-selling authors, they're so high up that you don't really have that opportunity to connect with them. And obviously that's not to say that best-selling authors are bad, like I have a lot of them behind me, but I just think it's something to bear in mind, and so that's my answer to that question. So thank you for watching this little mini review. If you enjoyed it, please remember to check out Fly on the Wall Press and Jiye on Instagram, and check out her chapbook. It is genuinely so emotive, so powerful, you won't regret buying it. And let me know your initial thoughts on this book, if you have any after this review. Are you going to pick it up? What do you think about reviewing and knowing the person who made a product? So share all that good stuff below. Don't forget, if you liked the video, to please leave me a like, it really helps me out, and subscribe for more poetry, book and literature related content. Just like to say, I'm sorry that I haven't posted in a while. April has been a wild month for me, but I am going to start posting more regularly, so do subscribe, because I am going to try and post every Monday, so keep an eye out for that, and I will see you in the next video next Monday, fingers crossed. Bye!